Hello and welcome back. Coach Bill's Sports Show. Once again, I'm Coach Bill. If your first time joining us, thank you. We do some fantasy football here, some college football, break down some plays. We play some NCAA football. We'll be getting into the NFL more as we get closer to the season. But today's show is fantasy football related. It's some bold predictions for fantasy football. So first things first, let's bring it together. Let's huddle up and let's get into it. All right, bold prediction number one. If you watched my running back show, you know I'm a little high on this guy. But Breece Hall will finish as a top 10 running back. The Jets, unfortunately, let's not do unfortunately. Let's start with the good stuff. They have killed it in the draft the last 2 years. They've done extremely well, offensively, defensively, and Breece Hall is just another example of that. The Jets landed a stud when they drafted Breece Hall. He's able to run, catch. He's young, and he's paired with a young gunslinger quarterback with Zach Wilson, which don't leave your mom around him, but that's a completely different story. All right, and something that Zach Wilson learned through the season last year is he needs a check down. He needs to go with the flow more in the offense. And I think Breece Hall is going to fit into that check down role very nicely. Extremely talented, extremely fast, agile, hard-nosed runner when he has the ball in his hands. Breece Hall. I think he's really going to surprise some people this year. And personally, I have him as my rookie of the year. So, next up, Gabriel Davis. I know a lot of people are starting to back off of him right now because he's been a little nicked up at camp, but I don't think that's going to bother him. I think he finishes as a top 20 wide receiver. Okay? I think Buffalo and Diggs is going to do just fine. He's going to be a top 10. But I think with Allen at quarterback, with Diggs drawing a lot of the coverage, Gabriel Davis is going to be a quiet top 20. He's going to be that guy you look at the end of the season and go, wait, he's what? He was 18? How did he do that? Because he's going to be steady. He's going to put up performances. And then he's going to be steady at, 6 catches, 60 yards, maybe a touchdown. Fantasy football-wise, especially PPR, 6 catches, 60 yards, that's 12 points, and you add a touchdown, that's 18. Any given week, I'll take that. Take that, no problem. Josh Allen's taking some steps forward. If you watch him camp, he's definitely taking some steps forward. And Gabriel Davis will see a lot of one-on-ones, especially with Diggs on the other side. I think that just leads to more performances like we saw from him in the playoffs. He's going to be a solid number 2 for the Bills, and I think the Bills are going to be a number 1 seed in the AFC. A lot of that's going to ride on that offense. Another person from the AFC that I'm high on, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow finishes as a top 3 quarterback this year, and he has 2 top 20 wide receivers. That's right. Joe Burrow not only finishes as top 3 quarterback, but he is able to produce 2 top 20 wide receivers. Chase Hill, T. Higgins. Let's get through the obvious stuff first. Burrow is sneakily athletic, accurate with the football, and he has some wonderful wide receivers in Higgins and Chase. Chase is going to be in the conversation for the wide receiver 1 this year. He's going to be in it. He is solidly top 5. He is in my top 3, and that's just because him, Justin Jefferson, and Mike Williams trade places depending on the day. But Burrow, coming off a Super Bowl last year with ragtag seems a little disrespectful, but ragtag offensive line. I think they've done enough to patch some holes in that offensive line that Joe Burrow gets a little bit more time. And giving these wide receivers more time to make moves down the field and having Joe Burrow have more time to make the completions, it's going to be pretty, folks. It's going to be really pretty. If it wasn't for Chase last year, a lot of people would be higher on Higgins. For some reason, people are low on him, and I'm fine with that. Stay low on him. That's perfectly fine. I'll take him later. And Higgins is consistent. That's what I love about Higgins. Jamar Chase is top 5 wide receiver. He's going to be putting up those big, gaudy games where he has 12 targets, 8 receptions, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, he's got that ability. Understood. But defense is going to be looking at that. Higgins, on the other side of the field, one-on-one coverage, please and thank you. He's going to do well. Joe Burrow's going to do well. Chase is going to do well. All 3 of them are definitely must-haves if you can have them. I wouldn't stack all 3, but at least getting 2 of them. Next up, staying in the AFC, staying in the same division, Deontay Johnson finishes as wide receiver 3 on his own team. Claypool is just a freak of nature, and I think he keeps progressing every year. He had some hit or miss games last season. Some of that I put on him, some of that I put on Big Ben. With a new quarterback in the system, trying to figure out who he likes most, and a big body in Claypool, I think Claypool ends up beating out Johnson for receptions. Pickens, their rookie, is making ridiculous catches right now in camp. Ridiculous. There was one where he jumped 4 yards backwards. He dove 4 yards backwards so he could grab the ball before it hit the ground. Guy's making a case for himself. I think with the new quarterback in town, with Deontay holding out for the new deal that he just signed, which, hey, get your money, man. I don't know who it's going to be. If it's going to be Trubinsky or Kenny... God bless it, what's his name? Kenny Pickett. There it is. I don't know who's going to win the spot. I don't know if they're going to keep the spot for the entire year. But the quarterback doesn't change my opinion on the players. I just think Deontay Johnson is the 3rd best wide receiver on that team. Simple as that. Another wide receiver that I'm high on, starting to get a little worried with some of the camp stuff, but I'm still high on him, is Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman finishes top 10 wide receiver. Now, it's not going to be, he's pushing into the top 5, don't get me wrong there. But 8, 9, 10, I can definitely see him landing in those spots. Defenses have to focus on the run game in Indy. They have to. You can't let Taylor run all over you. Not after what you saw last year. So defensive coordinators are going to be looking at that. So you've got play action with Matt Ryan, who is still a good quarterback. He's an upgrade from Wentz. He is. You've got Pittman, who is... I don't want to say he's the most skilled person in the room, but he's darn... If he's not, he's number 2. And with his size, weight, speed combination, I think he becomes Matt Ryan's favorite target. And Matt Ryan will force balls to people that he likes. He's proven it in the past. I see Michael Pittman being that guy. I see him getting upwards of 140, 150 targets this season. That's a lot. I think Michael Pittman breaks the top 10 as wide receiver. Up next, no, it's going to sound weird, is what it is. The AFC West finishes as a conference with 4 top 20 wide receivers and 3 top 5 quarterbacks. it sounds really weird, and I understand it. But 4 top 20 wide receivers and 3 top 5 quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks are simple. It's Derek Carr, Patrick Mahomes, and it's Justin Herbert. Nothing against Russell Wilson. Nothing at all. I think Russell's going to do very well there. But new quarterback, new system, new city, it's going to take some time. So I don't think he breaks the top 5 this year. That, and there's still, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow sitting out there. So, but I think with the shootouts that you're going to have in this division, those 3 quarterbacks are going to be in the top 5. Wide receivers, I think Devontae, I think Cortland Sutton, and I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams from the Chargers, all 4 are in the top 20 of wide receivers. Now, I don't have one of the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers really being in that top 20. If I was going to choose one of the wide receivers to draft, it would be Juju. I think Juju in the slot is going to be huge, but I think Patrick's going to end up spreading it more around, and that's going to help Patrick, but not really everybody else. I think Sutton is the benefactor for Russell Wilson and his streak of top 16 wide receivers. Has been since 2015 that he's had this streak going of top 16 wide receivers. I think Sutton's that guy this year. I think Herbert and Allen and Williams are all going to help each other. It's just I'm really excited about the Chargers offense this year. Their defense as well. They've got a pretty good defense there. Nice little pass rush, which is a little terrifying, but I think as an entire team, that Chargers team is really good. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, all top 5. Adams, Sutton, Allen, and Williams, top 20 wide receivers. It's a lot from one conference. Anyways, next up, Tony Pollard. Look at me close. Tony Pollard outscores Zeke. I'm not saying Zeke's going to get hurt. I'm not saying, any of that. It comes down to Zeke's production has been getting lower while Pollard's is growing. Zeke's had issues with conditioning. Pollard has not. I think it's going to be a 50-50 split this year between the two. And I just think that Pollard has better hands, and they're not as far apart as people think in the actual running the ball. I think Pollard ends up outscoring Zeke. The only thing that scares me is Zeke will be their touchdown running back. He'll be their goal line running back. That's the only thing that scares me. It's the only way Zeke beats Pollard if Zeke gets double-digit touchdowns. If he does that, then he'll figure a way into it. But as for right now, what I see, Tony Pollard outscores Zeke. Next on the list is unfortunate because I am a Panthers fan, but Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. I think Kyle Pitts in Atlanta is the tight end number 1 for this season. Not only do I think that, I see him with 120 catches and 1,520 yards. Those would both be records for tight ends. It's a matter of whoever starts there. If it's Mariota or if it's Ryder, it's a matter of the talent at wide receiver and tight end. And let's just face it, Pitts is the most talented person on that field that's a pass catcher. You can spread him out wide, and it's a mismatch with the cornerback. Not a lot of teams are going to have a cornerback that can line up against Pitts. You put him in tight, and he's a mismatch there. He's just a mismatch waiting to happen. Atlanta will target him an ungodly amount. I think he ends up with 120 catches, 1,520 yards. I don't know how many touchdowns. When I look at his touchdowns, it's I come up with a very wide range of margins. So I'm a little concerned there. But PPR, catches, yards, this guy's going to be a monster. An absolute monster. And he's going to be your tight end one at the end of the year. Staying in the division, going down to New Orleans, I think the rookie Olave is going to have 10-plus touchdowns, and 6 of them are going to be 40-plus yard touchdowns. So let's take a look at the team. Michael Thomas, coming back from injury, he's looking good. He's looking real good. Jameis is coming back this year, another year under his belt, and he's looking good too. He's looking good. But Jameis loves to throw that deep ball, and that's where I think Olave comes into play. Jameis has always been willing to stretch the ball, to push the ball down the field. He's always been willing to make that gamble, and I think Olave is that target. He's a crisp route runner, and he's great at running deep routes. He showed that at Ohio State. He's going to be their number 2 wide receiver. Michael Thomas is going to be the number 1. But I wouldn't be surprised if in fantasy football he was their number 1 scorer because of the deep catches and the deep touchdowns he's going to put up. Especially if your league has a 40-plus touchdown bonus. Olave's a really nice little sneaky grab in the double-digit rounds. He's more polished as a receiver to come into the NFL than we've had in a while. And he's not going to be able to get double coverage with Thomas there. Not to mention, Kamara isn't going to be there for 6 games. So that's just more targets to be able to spread around for this offense. I think Olave is going to be really good this year. If you can have him as a flex play, you're going to have a team that will kill people, and you will be unremorseful about it. Next up, no Seahawk will be in the top 15 for their position. That means no tight end, no running back, no quarterback, no wide receiver, and not the defense. I'll even go as far as saying not the kicker as well. None of them will be top 15 in their position. That offense was solely predicated on what Russell Wilson could do. And now Russell Wilson's gone. DK got his money. Hey, that's good. I will never fault any of these men for making their money while they can. They've got a short shelf life. Make your money. The Seahawks organization, on the other hand, y'all have some problems. Because if you thought you could let Russell Wilson walk out because you didn't want to pay him and bring in Geno Smith and Drew Lock as your quarterbacks and sustain the same level of success, y'all are crazy. I want to know what you're drinking because it's too much of it and I need to buy stock. The quarterback being what it is, that entire team has gotten older, and a lot of their key guys are either retired, no longer with the team, or at the point where they're aging out. With all that said, the only one on the team that really scares me to break this prediction is Penny. He has the talent. He could get the check down throws, especially if Geno starts. Geno's more apt to do the check down. He's the only one that scares me that could, in any world, break the top 15 for his position. But that's going to be a world where a lot of things had to go right for him and a ton of things had to go wrong for everybody else. So I'm fairly safe at saying no Seahawk breaks top 15 for their position. Lastly, with all the trades that have happened, all the acquisitions, everything that's happened in Miami, I think the man that's being overlooked is Chase Edmonds. He's currently going 91st in drafts. 10-man league, that's a 9th round pick. Okay? I think he ends up as a low-end RB1, but more than likely, high-end RB2. Okay? The talent in the wide receiver room is going to force defenses to play deep coverage on them. Because you don't want Waddle and you don't want Tyreek just running past your DBs. So you're going to have to almost play bail coverage. That will force their defense to cover deeper, allowing for the underneath pass to be there more often. Now, will that favor the tight end or the running back? That's yet to be seen. I have a suspicion that it's going to favor Chase Edmonds. They will run some more draws. They'll run a little bit more trickerations, and he'll get some passes out of the backfield. And he's good at all of that. He's quick and decisive when he does run the ball, which is beneficial. He also has very good hands for a wide receiver, or for a running back. Excuse me. He has very good hands for a running back. And now, am I saying, is he going to put up, 200-yard combined performances? No. But what if he put up 60 yards rushing and a touchdown with 6 receptions for 40 yards? Well, let's see. 6 receptions, 40 yards, that's 10 points. 60 yards rushing, that's 6. So we're at 16 plus the touchdown. Oh, Lord. That's a 22-point week. Oh. Give me a 22-point week any week, every week from a running back. I'll be happy. I'll be very happy at it. Because if my running back 2, who I could grab as a running back 3 right now, hell, I could grab him as my running back 4 right now, depending on how you draft. If I can grab that and get 22 points a week, let's take the touchdown out. It's still 16 points. 16 points a week from a running back is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I think Chase Edmonds becomes the steal of the draft this year. And he will be on a lot of championship winning teams. So, for me, when it gets to the 8th round, 9th round, I'm looking for him. I'm drafting him. And I'm saying thank you very much. Hopefully nobody's watching for my fantasy leagues, but if you are, you better get him before I do. So I think he's going to be a stud this year. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Comment down below if you think I'm getting too bold with some of these predictions. Let me know if I missed somebody. Please. It's the only way we're going to get better as a community is having discussions in the chat and tell me where I was right, tell me where I was wrong. With that being said, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Ready, break.